So in today's class, we will discuss regarding the various components of a building. So as you see in the screen, the various parts of a building are shown here. So we have the ground level above which the building is constructed, and below the ground level, you will be having the foundation for supporting the building loads. And when you see from the bottom, you can see a stair is made on the ground level to climb into the building. You can see the floors. So the ground floor is the floor which is resting on the ground and going in the clockwise direction. We have the floor, that is flooring material basically, and we have the terrace. This is a balcony for a building, and we have the parapets and railings which are provided throughout the perimeter for safety purposes. And the first floor, the walls are made for separating the rooms, and also in small buildings the walls will be the load carrying elements, because the wall will take the load from the roof. It will be distributed to the foundations. We have the roof. Then the building services are the set of services which are required for the effective running of a building. That means about the comfort of the inhabitants, like electrical, mechanical, plumbing, anything it can be. The ceilings are the finishes which are provided in the interior side of the roof, or even on the bottom of the floor in the second floor if it is there. And we have the building finishes. This is not a mandatory thing, but are mainly done for the aesthetic purposes. In some buildings, you can see the columns or pillars. Here you can see a column, which is meant for transferring the load from the here the slabs. Then a small beam is there, slab to beam, beam to the column, and then to the foundation. Here, that way, the load is transferred, and we have the doors and windows for the purposes for the privacy, then for moving from one room to another, and also window for the ventilation and for light. And okay, window plinth. So plinth is a structure which is separating the constructions below the ground and the main building. So all the constructions below the ground are called as uh, substructure, and all the constructions above the plinth, you can tell it means above the like the ground floor, are called as superstructure, and the structure in between the substructure and the superstructure is called as the plinth. Okay, we will see in details. So just recollecting the different basic components of a building structure includes a roof. Obviously, it is required for the covering of a building. Parapet for safety purposes. Then we have the lintels. So what is lintel? You can see a window here, and I told the wall will be a load carrying member in the case of a single story or two-story buildings based on the design. So as the load from the roof is transferred through the walls to the foundation, when a window or door is made, there is a discontinuity in the load transfer. That means here this point will be very highly stressed, as there is a discontinuity because we are making a hole here. So in order to rectify that or not to solve the issue, we're providing a lintel, that means a beam throughout the length. So above the, you can see that all the doors and for the windows the top level is almost same, so it is almost always kept same at the 2 meter height. And we are providing a lintel, say a lengthier beam which runs throughout the perimeter for taking the loads that is coming from above the walls. It means these loads which will be transferred to the lintels, so there won't be any more stress concentration at the windows and the door portions. Then we have the beams, which comes in combination with the column. I told here the roof load comes to the beams, then to the columns, and columns for supporting the entire load coming from the roofs and the beam. And the damp proof course is provided. It is always provided on the ground level. It is to prevent the dampness comes from the soil. So if the soil is wet and if you are not providing any damp proof course, this wetness will come to the building. So to protect that, we are providing a damp proof course. And we have walls for separation of the rooms, and I told in this case it's a load carrying member, and floors for separating the buildings vertically. And we have the stairs for the conveyance. So here a stair is shown to get into the ground floor from the ground level. You can also use, or you can also provide stairs internally or externally for climbing from one story to the another story. You have the plinth beam. Plinth beam is basically a group of beams which are provided below the ground floor for transferring the load from building to the foundation. Foundation, the entire loads comes to the foundation. So you can see here a big foundation which is taking the load of the entire superstructure, and you have the plinth. So we'll see in detail the various advantages and the requirements of the various basic components. So as I told you, the building components can be generally classified into three. One is called as the substructure. So if you see the cross section of a building, you can see the foundation concrete. So this picture shows a section of a single story building or a two-story building like your houses where you live. So at the bottom you will be having, that means the contractor will dig a hole and he will put the foundation concrete throughout the perimeter of the building. Perimeter also internally if there is walls. So first we will put a foundation concrete. So this entire loads will come through this foundation concrete to the soil or the ground. Then we have the foundation. So normally we will provide a random rubble masonry. Approximately this will be of length, some say around 60 to 1 meter. And so this foundation plus this foundation concrete includes in the substructure. And above the ground level, you have seen the steps in the previous picture to climb into the ground floor. So you have the sand filling uh, for like in every room. You can see for every suppose here the room is in the ground floor, you will be having the floor finishes like marble, granite, and beyond below that you'll be having the concrete, and below that there will be a sand filling up to the ground level. So a step, plain floor finish, and it can be anything. I told granite, like marble, tile, floor concrete, sand filling. Moving forwards, so damp proof course is provided. So normally we will provide the damp proof course only like the below the wall area. That means this is a wall, and here there is a door is provided here. So the damp proof course is provided through the entire width of this uh, plinth to prevent the penetration dampness into the main building. And this cross section shows a door. And I told you the lintel, it's a common beam running throughout the line to effectively transfer the load of wall above the door or window to the uh, other regions. So you have the brick masonry, that means the construction or the wall which is made of bricks, and you have the roof slab. So it is a single story, it is a first floor, double story. So if a single story is a terrace, double story is the first floor, and we have the parapet for the reason, and we have the weathering course. This is to provide safety or to avoid penetration of rainfall or any other such water into the building. So substructure we have seen all the constructions below the ground level. We have seen the plinth. It is the separating area between the substructure and the superstructure. So this includes the plinth area, and we have the superstructure, main building. So we'll see in detail. Substructure is also called as the foundation, and the foundation is the part of the structure which is in direct contact with the ground to which the loads are transmitted. So every load of the building will ultimately comes to the foundation. So we'll see the various functions of foundation. The foundations are meant to evenly distribute the load. So whatever unsymmetrical the building, the foundation should uh, evenly distribute the load. Otherwise, there will be a tilting of the building. The foundations are meant for reduction of the load intensity. You can see here the wall is of this much width, and when it comes to foundation, the width is increased, thereby the area too. So the pressure will be, or the intensity of the load will be decreased. And it also is meant for reducing the differential settlement, that means the tilting basically. And this provides safety against the sliding and overturning. That means, okay, if the you can see the foundation here, the soil will be there throughout the like around this foundation, and this foundation will help the building to be resting on ground, and it will be preventing the sliding of the building as well as the overturning of the building due to the wind or other earthquake forces. It provides safety against the undermining by various animals or some natural erosion. It provides a firm and level surface. You can see some pictures or some issues happen due to the weak foundation. First one shows an overturning. So a weak foundation destroys the work which is built upon it. So whatever strong, if you are making very strong building and if your foundation is very weak, then there is no use at all. So you can see a overturning, you can see a overturning and collapsed building. We'll see the requirements of a good foundation. They are constructed to sustain dead load and embossed load and to transmit them to the underlying soil. So dead load, embossed load. Dead load is the load which is constant. That means the building weight uh, all comes under the dead load. Embossed load or live load, they are the varying load, like the furniture load. Suppose that means the throughout the life in the building, you are not going to keep the furniture at a constant place. You'll be always constantly moving furniture by rearranging, and also there will be some functions in the buildings. There will be gathering. Sometimes there won't be any gathering. So all that differential or the varying loads comes under the imposed load, and the building self weight or the things which are made permanent will comes under the dead load, and they are transmitted So foundation are meant to transmit all kind of loads coming to the building to the underlying soil. Then the foundations are meant to uh, avoid the differential settlement. I told you the tilting. The foundation should take to the sufficient depth so that it goes good grip to hold the building. The performance should not be affected due to any unexpected future influence. So this shows some different types of settlements of the foundation. So you can see the first picture which is having no settlement. That means the foundations are all at the same level. And this is the case of a total settlement. You can see with respect to the nearby ground, as the load is high, the entire building settled uniformly, and this is called as the differential settlement. So some foundation joints or foundation will have some difference in settlement value. So these are less settled, these are more settled. So this differential settlement is very dangerous because this will create more stresses at the beam to column joint. So you can see it was initially 90 degree. Because of this differential settlement, it comes around some 80 or 70 degree, which will be causing more stress to this connection, and this may lead to the collapse of the building too. So the uniform settlement is usually of little consequence in a building because this is a uniform, because there won't be any stresses inside the building. But differential settlement can cause severe structural damage due to the set reason. So this is how a building is made. You can see the foundations here. So here, that means with respect to the ground level, they digged this area fully and they made the foundation, and then we will be filling the sand or soil into this one, and then from the ground level they will be start constructing the building. Okay, we will see in detail. So we have went through the foundation, which is called as substructure, and the portion of the building which comes below the ground. Now we will see the plinth, which is basically the separation between the superstructure and the substructure. So the plinth is the dividing structure between the substructure and the superstructure, foundation and the main building part. Thus, the projecting part of the wall above the ground level to the floor level is the plinth. So you can see here, you can see the random rubble masonry above the ground level, and you can see the wall here. So there is a difference here. That means there is a projecting part. So this is called as the plinth. The plinth is usually kept at least 45 centimeter above the general ground level of the building. That means suppose this is the ground level, this foundation, this part, random rubber masonry will be having a total depth of 45 centimeters. So these are mainly used for raising the platform. In the sense, suppose the area is a waterlogging area. If you didn't provide this 45 centimeter, the water will simply penetrate into the building. And also it provides some safety because suppose due to any chance due to the bad quality of the soil or ground, if the building is settling, if you're not providing this much depth, then this entire building will go below the ground level. So this is meant for accommodating the settlements that may happen, as well as to prevent the entry of water into the building. We'll see the raised floor, load distribution, damp proof, and the supporting laterally the fillets. That means the plinth is meant for providing a raised floor to prevent the entry of water, to uh, manage or to um, solve the issue of settlements, and to properly distribute the load to the foundation, and for providing the damp proof course for preventing dampness, and for supporting laterally the fillers. It means I can have the fillers here. I told you it can be sand filling or any building waste, whatever the contractor or the builder suggests, and the plinth will provide some lateral support to these fillings. Okay, then comes to the superstructure. So this is something which is very familiar to you because you are seeing indirectly, because everything is above the ground level and you are experiencing these structural parts. Okay, the main parts include the walls and columns. The walls are mostly made of masonry, uh, generally brick masonry. It may be a brick work or a block work, that means concrete blocks are available now. And for very aesthetically placing, and for some for shop areas, they are will be going for stonework too. Also, it will be very heavy. Also, it will be very strong too. And the buildings may also be constructed as a frame structure with columns and footings and then walled. So you can see this is a frame structure. This is a multi-storied building, and the simple wall roof arrangement won't be taking or won't be enough for transferring the load to the foundation. So as the height of story or number of stories are increasing, we will be going for a column, beam, slab arrangement for effectively transferring the load and for the purpose. So most of the flats and high-rise buildings are built in this way. That means the column, footing, beam combination, and next we have the floors. So in a single story building, the walls will be the load carrying member, and for multi-story buildings it goes to the column plus beam combination. And the floors are important part of the building. It is placed where the inhabitants perform most of their activities. So we are like staying on the floor, and all our activities are happening there. It is constructed on the filling and laid over the plinth level. This is only applicable for the down floor, where we have seen the sand filling there. For above, that means for the first floor as well as second floor, there is no filling provided. The floors are usually made from different types of materials such as timber, brick, RCC, anything. So normally we'll be going for RCC, but olden constructions were made with timber and brick. And top floors are nowadays usually made of reinforced concrete. Most of all the floors are made now with the reinforced concrete. Other important part of a building is the roof. A roof is an important part of all the buildings. A roof is a layer which covers the structure from the top. You can see the roof here, and this is called as a parapet, which is running throughout the perimeter. It prevents the roof. It prevents the building and inhabitants from the ill effects of the environment. So the rain, sunlight, everything is protected by this roof. Depending on the finances available and also on the climatic condition, we have different types of roofs. So this is a simple flat roof. You can go for a trussed roof. So different combinations are there, but you can see those combinations when you look around. So normally for the buildings, we'll be providing a flat roof so that in future also we can construct more floors here. Or nowadays this trend of making a trussed work above the building for the use for the requirements. It can be a sloped or flat. Many types of roofing and even roofing materials are available nowadays. Comes to the fabrication of the doors and windows. Openings are necessary in buildings for passages inside and outside the buildings. So for moving from one room to another, we are providing a door. So it is meant for privacy. If you are closing the door, it will be a private area, and for easily for moving from one room to another, you can provide a door. So we also need windows for lighting and ventilation. Okay, and traditionally doors and windows were made of wood. Hence, they were called as the woodwork in buildings. So there was olden things like doors and windows. So nowadays, as the timber work is more costly, people goes for even the aluminium uh, doors or PVC or even the steel doors and windows. So other woodworks like provision of cupboards are also important, but it comes under the subject of introduction because those are non-mandatory things which are provided for the for the interest of the inhabitants. Then we have the stairs and lift. So nowadays, most of the buildings are made more than 1 story height, which means that there should be a way to go from 1 story of the building to the another. So knowledge of various elements of a staircase and the construction of a simple staircase is essential to all those involved in the building construction. Uh, so you can use either the stairs for moving from one floor to another. In some malls and all, there will be some escalators or even lift, and so those type of vertical conveyance should be provided for the multi-story buildings and for the requirement. So the building finishes at all, it includes painting, woodwork. That means okay, the plastering, pointing, everything is done on the masonry for making it aesthetically pleasing. Final appearance of the building depends very much on its finishing. You have to deal with the following. Plastering is basically putting the cement mortar. That means cement plus sand plus water. It's called as the cement mortar. So we are pasting the cement mortar on the brick. It's called as plastering. And pointing is mainly putting the same cement mortar between the brick. Then we have the painting of walls, woodwork, woodwork, etc. as the building finishes. It is essential that we have a knowledge of the finishing to be used on these various materials for the construction of plaster, wood, and metals, etc. And also we have various building services. This we will be studying in detail in the module 3. So a quick uh, understanding of the same. The various building supply or building services include the water services, it means drainage, sanitation, water supply, electrical works for providing the power into the building, and the usage of various machines. We need power, right? So the electrical works which has to be done inside the building, the water supply, drainage, and other water works for living inside the building has to be ER all comes under the building services. So in some cases we will be requiring some mechanical works too. I'll stop here.